Welcome everybody to another episode of our Divine Farmer Health podcast. This is Jimmy, the Acu Sensei, and we've got Chris McKee, nutritionist. So Chris, what are you going to talk about today?
Okay, we're going to review a little bit about what we've talked about the last couple of weeks, which is mitochondria, your battery of your body, your energy factory. And then we're going to talk about what can damage it and then what can heal it and how to make new mitochondria. And then we're going to dive into exercise and some really cool information on exercise.
Okay, awesome. And so before we dive in right away, I want to share with everybody. So at the end near the end of today's podcast, we're going to share with you the opportunity to do one of our programs. We have this new program, but we want to let you know in advance. So this is one thing that we do different from all other health online coaching programs or online programs is we function based off of transparency. So what does that mean? Some of y'all are probably thinking when you attend a podcast, you're like, oh, they're going to try to sell me something right at the end. And so I'm here to tell you, yes, we are going to try to sell you something at the end. So you can get rid of that anxiety. We are going to sell something to you at the end because it's something that we believe in that can help. There's 7 billion people in the world. We want to help 7 billion people. And so there will be an opportunity to work with us in one of our programs, and we'll present that at the end. I just want to let you know, be transparent up front. So yeah. Chris, let's go dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in. So last 2 weeks, we've been talking about mitochondria, which is the battery of your body. And you have thousands of them in every cell of the body. The big energy hogs, I call them, that require a lot of energy have a lot of mitochondria. So think of your brain. Our brains use a lot of energy, right? A lot of sugar, actually. And our heart, it uses a tremendous amount of energy to beat with us out even thinking about it. And then large muscle groups like quadriceps and gluteus maximus, those have a lot of mitochondria, and the muscle cells in general have a lot of mitochondria in them. So we've talked about a lot what that means metabolically in the body, keeping it healthy. But I don't think we've talked about what can damage the mitochondria. So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about what can help it, right? So damaging the mitochondria.
One second, okay. Chris, sorry. 1 second, Chris. So let's you mentioned, brain, heart, and, our muscles. So for those of y'all, who are thinking, oh, what does the mitochondria or metabolism have to do with any of these things, right? So it affects your brain, it affects your heart. And so some symptoms that you could be experiencing, like brain fog or memory, right? Those, if your mitochondria is not functioning properly, or your metabolism are just enzymatic cellular reactions in every single cell in our body. So if that's not functioning correctly, you're going to see that brain fog. You're going to see that short-term memory loss. You're going to see that confusion, like just or maybe even, I would say, feeling of heaviness, maybe some depression, maybe some anxiety, right? So that is for the brain. Now for the heart, you could have the low cardiovascular function, right? The lack of ability of your heart to effectively pump, because your heart is the only pump in your body. So if your heart is not functioning at optimal capacity, then the circulation in your body is going to be affected. Now that creates a cascade of problems. Because think about it, if your circulation is not good, what else goes wrong? And the last one, the big muscle groups, right?
Yeah.
So are not functioning, you're not moving. And here's a big thing for those of y'all who are in chronic pain. You may be thinking, what does my metabolism have to do with my pain? Well, if your muscles are not functioning, they're not firing, right? Your muscles help move your body. They help support your structure. They help prevent pain. So if your muscles aren't functioning correctly, it could cause a lot of pain. And what is the root cause? It could be your mitochondria or your metabolism. So I just want to give people so that it relates close to them. Like, how does that relate to me?
Yeah, those are really good. And that's huge. So basically, we just mentioned a few, right?
Yeah.
It has to do with everything because it's energy production, and without energy production, you're not here, right? You're transitioning to the other side. So we need energy, and what the things that we live in, the environments that we live in, can really impact our mitochondria, and that is something that I think most people think about. And when I say environment, I'm talking about cellular environment, what your cells are floating in and exposed to. Comes in through our mouth, it comes in through our skin, it comes in through our lungs. And so the things that can impact mitochondria in a negative way are obviously junk food. Bad oils, I would say, would be at the top of this list, right? The fried food oils are extremely damaging to your cell, can really impact your mitochondria. If you're reading labels, I'll encourage you to become a label reader and read labels, because your packaged food, your frozen food, anything you pick up with a package or boxed or bagged, I say anything with a barcode, except there's barcodes on fruits and vegetables now, but you read the label, because they're going to have soy oil and they're going to have canola oil in them. Some things still have the partially hydrogenated oil, very damaging to the cell. So oils are a great place to start if you're new to this whole world of eating healthy. Get your oils cleaned up, and you want to have real oil, like extra virgin olive oil, right? Beautiful, beautiful food. I love coconut oil to cook with, especially for high heat. I'll stir fry with coconut oil. I like avocado oil too, for not quite as high of a heat. Avocado oil comes from a seed. It's not a grain. We eat grass-fed butter, real stuff, comes from a grass-fed cow that's a happy cow. And so those are our primary oils that we use. And so you can really clean up your diet at home by getting the bad oils out, chuck the canola oil, chuck the corn oil. You know, the canola oil, that's not a healthy oil, and they've told us it's healthy. It's not. So get your oils cleaned up. That's a really big one. And the other one is sugar. Sugar can really damage your mitochondria. If you flood that cell with sugar, then your cell's overwhelmed. And yes, the mitochondria uses sugar to make energy. It does. But when you fill that cell full of too much sugar, we get what's called insulin resistance. And that means that cell's going, I've changed the lock. You can't come in. The insulin tries to carry the sugar into the cell so we can burn it off. We get so full of sugar, the insulin comes along and, tries to use its key, and no longer does that lock doesn't work, because the cells changed the lock. It says, I can't take anymore. So now we have a lot of floating sugar, right? A lot of floating blood sugars start coming up. Lots of inflammation is happening. When that cell is full of sugar, lots of inflammation is happening, and that damages that mitochondria. And then all these symptoms you're talking about, Jimmy, the pain symptoms, right? The brain is an organ just like your heart. And so when you have a lot of inflammation, if you have an inflammation in a joint, you could have inflammation in your brain. That may be why you're foggy thinking, or maybe why you have anxiety or depression, maybe why you're not sleeping well, because it is inflamed. I call it's a brain on fire, because it's just loaded with inflammation, and sugar will do that. So those are two big ones that can impact it food-wise. Also, I would say coming from the food would be pesticides and herbicides. So we know these can be very damaging because they're very toxic to the body. And so cleaning up your food with organic as best you can. One of the websites that I always send my clients to is called the Environmental Working Group website. So it's ewg.org. Go download their Dirty Dozen and their Clean 15. So their Dirty Dozen is the most heavily sprayed fruits and vegetables. And every year they do this, they go out and test. And then the Clean 15 are the ones that have the least pesticides. So that way you don't have to buy like avocados organically. So you can use that and to help with the budget when buying organic. But the heavily sprayed ones, you definitely want to use organically. Try to lower your toxic load on your body, because everything that comes in through the mouth, through the skin, through the lungs, goes into a cell. And then metabolically, your body has to do something with it. It has, the liver does a lot there and the kidneys do a lot there, but we have to detoxify this stuff. So try to lower your toxic load. The other place we can address with that is cleaning products in our home. I use probably two. I think two, maybe three, and they're all non-toxic. I don't open my kitchen cupboard and it's so full of cleaning stuff underneath there. It's like, I think I have two for the bathroom and one for the kitchen. That it's just all non-toxic cleaning. So try to lower that, as you get rid of some of that stuff, try to choose some clean, clean, I guess you might say, products. The other thing is, I tell my clients, we do this in our sleep programs, Jimmy, no scents in your house, like no plug-ins in the wall. You don't want to be breathing this stuff, right? We don't need to have scented laundry detergent. We don't want to have the dryer sheets that are scent. We are so bombarded with these scents, and they're chemicals, you guys. They're not true scents. You want scents, get yourself an essential oil diffuser and use essential oils. You can use essential oils in your cleaning and your laundry. They're beautiful. Anything we can do to lower the toxic load so our cells don't have to deal with toxicity. All this stuff damages your mitochondria. So we want to keep that mitochondria healthy, and we make new cells all the time. Cells die and grow all the time. But unfortunately, as we're aging, we don't do it as fast as we did when we were 20. Right? So we want to give the body some tools it needs to be able to do this and make a healthy new cell. So those are some tips on mitochondria. Antioxidants are really powerful for the mitochondria. So that's your colorful fruits and vegetables. How many times have we heard, 5 to 7 servings a day of colorful fruits and vegetables? Yeah. So there's a reason why. They're loaded with vitamins, they're loaded with minerals, they're loaded with antioxidants. So these antioxidants go in there. A great visual for antioxidants is if you took a piece of metal and you put it out in the rain all winter long, it would rust, right? Mm-hmm. That's called oxidation. So we don't want to oxidize inside our body, right? We don't want to rust away inside our body. So we want antioxidants in our body to prevent this rusting of the cells and the damage to the cells. So those colorful fruits and vegetables are loaded with antioxidants, especially the organic ones. And if you grow your own, it's even better. It's wonderful. So those are tips for preventing damage and then restoring health to the cell. Now, I'm going to transition into exercise, because how do we make
Chris,
a lot of new mitochondria? Yeah.
Chris, before you transition to the exercise, let's, I wrote down a couple of things that some people may be wondering, that people that are watching this later on. So you mentioned, you got butter from a happy cow. Yeah. So how do you know, so some people may be wondering, number one, how do you know that cow's happy? Number two is like, where do you get that butter from? Which is a similar question.
Yeah. Most of your grocery stores have grass-fed butter. One of the brands is called Kerrygold. It's from Ireland, and they are raised on pasture. There are other brands out there, actually, where I buy Costco brand. It comes from New Zealand, and they're raised on pasture. Okay, versus your regular butter that you get in the grocery store is factory farmed cows. If you've ever driven by a dairy that they're standing on their own poop, I mean, it's pretty bad, right? I mean, it's pretty smelly too. If you've ever been around a dairy, it's really smelly because they're confined. It's called confined feeding operations. And so they're being fed usually pesticide-laden, unfortunately, food, and they are fed a lot of soy products as well. So the cattle are not eating the green grass. Some of them show pictures of them out eating green grass. I'm sorry, it's confined feeding. And what we're doing with the grass-fed butter is we're getting it from cattle that are literally like what you would envision cattle to be out on a green pasture. And the color of the butter is completely different. The taste of the butter is completely different. Once you've had it, you're like, I don't want to go back and eat that pale, tasteless butter.
Yeah.
That answers your question.
That reminds me of one time, that I went to, I went to visit my wife's family is from China, and I went to visit them. This was years ago, probably 10 years ago. And they bought what they call it like a ground, direct translation is a ground chicken.
Oh,
And what that means is just it's free roaming chicken,
gotcha.
they don't feed the chicken any feed, and so forth. And so they just cooked some chicken soup. And when I was watching my mother-in-law back then cook this chicken, all she did was, I mean, she cleaned it obviously, but all she did was just boil it. That's it. She may have put a pinch of salt, but she
Uh-huh.
didn't add anything else to that chicken soup. And when I drank it, I was like, it was so rich. I mean, the taste, I'm like, I have never tasted such a rich chicken, not here in the
Yeah.
US. And so that's, when you're saying that New Zealand cow, I've heard New Zealand cows, maybe even Australian cows,
Yeah.
they're all, because they're raised in their natural environment.
Yeah.
Second question. So when you're talking about, okay, no sense, like no sense in smell, because we all know that even there's chemical toxicity, and that's through also things that we smell, we breathe in, like smoking. Smoking is a chemical toxicity. You mentioned essential oils.
Yeah.
So how there's so many essential oils. People are
Yeah.
making their own essential oils. How do you know it's a good source, a safe source for people to buy essential oils?
Well, I always look for organic. Personally, I look for organic essential oils. Again, think about it. I mean, when you're extracting an oil out of a plant, it's concentrating it down a tremendous amount. So if it's been sprayed with pesticides, you're getting all of that concentrated down. So
Yeah.
I do have, I don't know if you want me to share a website or not, because there is a website that I go to
Yeah.
buy my oils from. Is that
Why
okay?
not? Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
and now I say that my brain is just like, okay, I'll have to come back to that. Something Rose. I can't remember the whole name, but I'll come back to that. Let me come back to that. It'll pop into my head here before we're done. But yes, there is a website that I use that I get my oils from, and they have a lot of organics on there, and they're fairly reasonably priced. They're not really, obviously, if they're really inexpensive, you got to be suspicious. That's
Yeah.
my first thing to say, because it takes a lot of, let's say you have rosemary oil or whatever. It takes a lot to extract out a little ounce of oil. So if you're paying, $7, you're going to be getting something really probably not the real thing. So I always say, you're going to get what you pay for, but you don't need to pay $70 a bottle either. So yeah,
So what
I'll
you're
get.
saying,
Yeah.
so what you're saying is when you're looking for essential oils,
Mhm.
sometimes number one, we're looking for organic, and they have those, organic logos and so forth. But
Yes, yes.
the other thing that you're looking for is actually from the price. If it's too cheap
Yeah.
or if it's really expensive, then there's probably some red flags. So
Yeah.
you're looking for like a price point more of it in the middle,
Yeah.
because to somewhat almost guarantee you're getting a good high quality essential oil.
Yes. So the website is, because I knew it was going to come to me,
Okay.
mountainroseherbs.com. And
Okay.
I also buy their dried herbs. I buy, for instance, shiitake mushrooms dried
Hmm.
off their site,
Yeah.
so that I always have shiitake mushrooms. If I want to cook, I just rehydrate them. They have some really nice herbs too. Yeah, but they have great
Awesome.
essential oils. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Oh.
So next, you're going to talk about some exercise.
Yeah. Dr. Peter Attia, Attia, is an amazing doc. He does have a private clinical practice. He works with longevity, and he also is a researcher, right? So he does a ton of research, and his clinic, he basically does a lot of research on the clients. But I watched a interview of him, and some of the stuff he was sharing was so incredible with exercise. I thought I'd share this with you guys. So remember, we're talking about mitochondria here, and muscles have a lot of mitochondria. If we keep muscles active and strong, we're going to be firing a lot with that energy with the mitochondria. That's why exercise always gives you more energy. You think I don't have energy to go exercise, but after you're done, you feel really good, right? So you're firing mitochondria. So here is some research that was done, and this is on 90 this is on 3 hours a week. So I'm gonna kind of break this out. But he said, if you are a couch potato and you go from 0 to 3 hours a week of exercise, and I'll tell you what type of exercise in a minute, it reduces all-cause mortality by 50% at any moment in time. All-cause mortality is death from anything: cancer, heart disease, diabetes, 50% at any point in time. So he said, you could be 20 and do this, you could be 80 and do this, and it would reduce your risk of death by 50% of all-cause mortality. And what he was saying in the research is that the people who are couch potatoes and go to 3 hours a week get the biggest benefit. Let's say I'm doing 2 hours a week and then I go to 3 hours. I'm going to bump up my benefit, but it's not going to be anywhere near the huge benefit from somebody going from 0 to 3. Now, obviously, going from 0 to 3 hours a week, you might say, where am I going to fit that into my schedule? So start with an hour a week, 2 30-minute walks a week. And the exercise that was in the study was what we call intermediate exercise. What's that mean? So what it means is perceived exertion of this. Let's say you're out walking with a friend, right? You're walking along and you're breathing pretty good, and you're, hi Jimmy, isn't this great that we're out today and we're exercising? You can talk, right? But you're kind of like, okay,
struggling a little.
Yeah, but if you get to the point where, sorry, can't talk, Jimmy, that's too much. Okay, that's the high end. But the mid-range, the perceived exertion in the mid-range is where you get these benefits right here. Okay. If you have been a couch potato, walking is going to get you there. You'll be, if you're walking pretty good, right? You're going to be up there. So if you want to break it down, obviously it would be, you can do an hour 3 days a week if you want to do it that way. If you want to start off though with just 30 minutes, you could do 2 30 minutes. The next week you could do 3 30-minute days, right? You could go up to 4 45-minute days and you'd get your 3 hours in. So don't feel like you have to start at 3 hours. It's better to start with something and build on it. But I thought those statistics were unbelievable. So here's another one. It's the grip strength. So have you ever heard of that? The grip strength. So the difference in the bottom percentile versus the top percentile, somebody who can grip really good, right? And they did this with elderly. So the comparison between the bottom and the top is a 70% decrease in cognitive decline, not just Alzheimer's, but all cognitive decline. That again just blew me away, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, this is using a muscle. Yeah. So they've done, and I've even read this in other places too, they've done studies on people in assisted care homes when they start exercising, even if they're in a wheelchair. They start doing a little bit of weight, how they've seen them throwing the ball, and doing things like that. They see a tremendous benefit in their cognitive function goes up. So again, the brain uses a tremendous amount of energy, and there's a lot of mitochondria in the brain. So exercise is a phenomenal way to increase your longevity. That's the bottom line here. So move your body. If you haven't been doing any, you're going to get even more benefit by starting to do something. If you've been doing something, let's challenge you to up it, right? I do 5 days a week of exercise, but I've been doing it for a long time. So let's start with 2, maybe go to 3 and see how you do, because the benefits are fantastic.
So in that in that research for the grip strength, did they give you did they show any ranges, like from what age they expect, you to have a grip strength of what, a certain squeeze strength of, because we measure grip strength in our clinic.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but is there in that research that you were stating, do they know a range of like, what's the grip strength number?
No, they didn't give the grip strength number. No, they didn't give a, yeah. I bet I can find it though. His website is a plethora of great information. If anybody wants to go to his web, it's Dr. Attia, DRATTIA.com. He had some other exercises on there that he's written a book, and then he said it was too hard to explain in the book how to do them. So he put them on his website. And one of them is stepping up on a step stool.
Yeah.
They're called step-ups, right? He showed, and there's another thing he talked about, this, he believes that step up is one of probably the most powerful exercises that as you age, you can do, because he said, what is it that usually is one of the big common causes of death is falling.
Yep.
And you break your hip, you end up in the hospital, and your rate of mortality is pretty high. So he said, learning how to step up and step down off of the stool, because he said it's not stepping up on a curb, usually it's stepping down on a curb.
Yes.
So the step up is, he's got an example of a stool and he shows how to do it correctly. And so there's some great stuff on his website at dratia.com, and videos and all kinds of different stuff on his website. And he may have some of that research on there. I didn't cruise around and look at that. I just was looking at the videos of the exercise. Great.
I think that would be really good to know, because if everybody can go onto Google, everybody can Google all this stuff, and everybody will say similar things, if not the same thing. So if they're, having a biochemistry, I have a biochemistry mind. It's like if there was, specific data or specific numbers, so you can have, and the numbers are for specific targets, right? So instead of tell someone, let's improve your grip strength, let's get more exercise. Okay, how much, in what time frame, right? What grip strength should I be getting? Should I be targeting for my age, for my condition, and so forth, right? I think if you can find that data, that I think we can share that next time in the next week.
Yeah, I will. I'll look for it. I think I'm just going to buy his book, because his book sounds like it'd be really good. He's got a lot of this stuff in there, and these are actionable items. These are actionable things that we can do. And that's what I love, is sometimes I think just having that mindset of, okay, all cause mortality decreases by 50%. If I get out and move my body for 3 hours a week, well, heck, what pill can you take that's going to do that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're at the end of our 30 minutes. And so I wanted to close with, like I said in the beginning, we're here to present you an opportunity. We're here to sell you a program. We're transparent. We're not going to hide things from you. And so one of the things, a program that Chris and I have been working on, is something, it's called the Metabolic Turnaround. It's a 10-day health journey, and the program actually starts next Monday, so June the 26th. So it starts next Monday, June the 26th. The program is a 10-day program, and you may think, like I mentioned earlier, you may think metabolism. Okay, I don't need to lose weight. Okay, I don't. My metabolism is fine, or maybe I need to gain weight. Okay, so that's great. If you don't need to lose weight, the metabolic turnaround is not about losing weight. It's about turning around your metabolism. And we just stated in the very beginning of this podcast, when you improve your metabolism, it can improve whether you're having, cognitive issues, because metabolism is crucial for it occurs in every single cell in your body. It generates energy. Doesn't your brain need energy? Doesn't your heart need energy? Doesn't your muscles need energy? Doesn't your other organs need energy? So this program is about turning your metabolism around so that whatever you're suffering with, right, it can start helping. Now, is it going to cure your disorders? No, it's not. This program is a foundational program. It's to help you build a strong metabolic metabolism foundation, right? So our program is normally $47, but we're running a promotion that ends on June the 26th. It's for $7. We're going to put the link below, and you need to sign up ASAP. Don't be left out. So sign up ASAP. We'll put the link below. And yeah, any last words, Chris?
Yeah, I might mention that this is in a portal. So they'll get access to a portal. If this timing isn't good, like you can't start, like I can't start next Monday, I'm going on vacation. You can go ahead and sign up, and then you can access it when you come back from vacation. So you'll have access till, I think it's the end of July, right? So we're going to go ahead and leave it open for you to come in and do it maybe 2 weeks from now if you need to, but you want to get this price is what you want to get. So you just go ahead and get signed up, and you can have access to it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for everybody for joining. We will be back next week, same time, same day, and just, and hopefully we'll have some more research and just continue this conversation. All right, guys. Everybody enjoy your day.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.